So the full spoilers for chapter 11 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex is finally here, and let's just say that I was 100% on point. So we have a lot to discuss, so let's start from the top. Now I just want to preface this by saying that for this month the spoilers are just going to be in text format. We didn't get the full panel leaks, so there's not much to look at, but I'm going to put the text leaks on screen so you guys can see it as we read through it. So as you guys know, the chapter cover features Hidari, and he's somewhat heavily featured in the chapter itself, of course. And the title of the chapter is serious, and it's in reference to something Jura said later on in the chapter, but we're gonna get to that soon. So according to the leaks, Himawari possesses regenerative powers thanks to the Nine Tails, which she then used to heal Inojin's wounds, which everyone kinda predicted from the prior chapter, and I also made a point about this in my video about why Himawari can't win, and this is very interesting based on what happens later on in chapter. Of course, she does have the power of the Nine Tails, and we've seen Naruto use it to heal people before, such as in the Boruto movie when Naruto was able to heal half of Sasuke's body from burn damage within seconds. It's crazy, right? And we see Naruto heal himself from great damages before, but I also pointed out that in the Blood Prison movie, Naruto had a similar damage to Inojin, where his entire chest cavity was completely erased or destroyed, and he wasn't able to heal it. He actually died. They saved him using other methods. And even though Naruto didn't have control over the Nine Tails at that point in time, the Nine Tails would have automatically healed him because Naruto needs to stay alive in order for the Nine Tails to stay alive, and we've seen the Nine Tails heal Naruto before due to that very reason. So since the Nine Tails didn't heal him, it's very clear that the Nine Tails can't heal such damages. So since Himawari is able to do this per these chapter leaks, it's very clear that her connection to the Nine Tails being greater than Naruto's leads to the Nine Tails being able to do more things than the prior Nine Tails, which I also pointed out in my video. But of course, let's continue with this because it also goes a bit deeper based on what Jura is saying here. So it says here that she then asked Shikadai to let her fight in alone, which I assume they meant to say fight him alone. It then says that Shikadai agreed because he knew they didn't stand a chance against Jura, and it's better to survive in this fight. Jura then complimented him for his wise decision again, and then said that he won't forget his name because they'll meet again someday. Now this could be foreshadowing something for the future of Shikadai and Jura, but it could also be the case that Jura is just saying random stuff as we've seen him done on multiple occasions, so I wouldn't put much weight on what he's saying here for Shikadai, but it could be the case that Shikadai plays a part in Jura's demise later on, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. It then says here that Chocho disagreed with the decision, but Himawari assures her that she got the same thought at first, but because she now has this new power, she also has responsibilities she needs to fulfill. Chocho then accepted her decision and then asked to be treated with pancakes when it's all over. And you know, while reading this, it's so crazy because all I can think about is that scene or those scenes in movies where the character heads off to make the ultimate sacrifice and everyone is saying, let's have a drink when this is all over, you know, when we meet in the other place. Like it's that type of vibe I'm getting from the scene here. It's funny, but yeah, let's continue. It then says that Jura admits that people aren't stupid, or these people aren't stupid, referring to Team 10, but also wonders why they have made a bad decision. He then says that Inojin endangered himself even after Jura warned him, while at the same time it awakened the power inside Himawari. He then wonders if it's a coincidence or correlation. So Jura is pretty much finally figuring out how battle shonens work, right? The characters get damaged, and because of that, another character gets a mental amp and awakens new power. So it's kind of like finally catching on, you know? So it then says that Himawari and Jura fought, or they're currently fighting. They both fired Biju bombs, which is what we saw from the prior sneak leaks, and we already went over that, so we don't need to do that again. You know, Jura is firing his Biju bomb and Himawari is creating hers with her hair follicles or whatever. That's pretty cool, but we already discussed it, so let's move on. So it then says that Jura is curious, as he always is, right? How can she use the Biju bomb and how rapid her evolution is? And of course, we as the audience already know why, right? Because she has this affinity to Kurama because of her link to Kaguya, right? That chakra that she has that's being combined from both bloodlines to create Kaguya's chakra within her body. And as we know, Kaguya was a part of the 10 Tails that created the Nine Tails. So the Nine Tails is partially Kaguya's chakra, right? A lot of people aren't aware of this, but yeah, the Nine Tails is partially Otsutsuki, specifically Kaguya, and also the Otsutsuki that was sacrificed initially. So there's a lot of mechanics going on here, and that's what Kishimoto is kind of taking advantage of. And Jura obviously wouldn't be aware of this because, as I stated in my prior video, Jura was quite literally born yesterday, so he's slowly figuring things out, and I'm sure he's gonna find out what's going on with Himawari soon. But it then says that Jura headbutts Himawari and kicks her, saying that it's the first time he understood things. So that made him want to go all out or just get very serious based on whichever translation you want to use. So that's pretty much where the title of the chapter stems from. Now we're then going back to the Hidden Leaf Village because we're gonna switch to Hidari. So it says Sarada and the others, which is referring to Konohamaru and the random Jonins, have cornered Hidari. She then asks Hidari why he can use Chidori. He then proceeds to ask her if the eye she used before is the Sharingan, and if Chidori is the name of the jutsu he used earlier. Now this seems a bit weird because it seems that the Shinjus do possess some of the memories of the original user because he knows the name Sharingan for some reason, but he doesn't know the name of the jutsu, which is Chidori. Now both of these things belong to Sasuke, both the jutsu and the dojutsu, but for some reason he's only remembering one of those things. I also remember the name of Sasuke's daughter, which is Sarada. So it does seem that they have some memories and memories of how to use some of the skills, but not everything, right? Which is kinda interesting. He then said that the move is quite hard to use. He needs the Sharingan to completely master it. And this is ding dong ding dong ding. This is confirming what I said in my original video breaking down the fight with Sarada and Hidari. While everyone was like going crazy with the power scaling, right? I made a very clear case that maybe Hidari isn't using his power to the fullest potential because one, he's using the Rinnegan, and we know the Rinnegan doesn't have the same visual prowess as the Sharingan or Byakugan. Being stronger isn't the same as being more technical or more skilled in a particular function, right? That's why Sasuke, even as an adult, whenever he uses the Chidori, he always activates the Sharingan, right? Even if he has the Rinnegan active, which is always active. So Hidari not having the Sharingan puts him at a severe disadvantage because one, he can't fully perceive what he's doing, which allows him to get easily countered by other characters. Now, this doesn't fully discount Sarada's power because even if that's the case, you have to be really fast to be able to dodge him. So Sarada is super fast, but what I'm saying is that he doesn't have full control of the powers yet because he's using both Renegans. He needs a Sharingan to completely master it, which is what Hidari says in this chapter. Now it then says that Konohamaru interrogated him about his relation to Sasuke, because you know based on the prior chapter that Konohamaru now knows that he has Sasuke's chakra signature, but Hidari says that he doesn't know who he is. He came to the village to find out about himself. It then says that Sumire warned Konohamaru to protect Sarada because she realized that Hidari is after her. And this is where we get to the weird part, right? Because it says here that Jura used the claws, which is referring to Code's claw marks, which Hidari placed on the ground to shock Sarada. Then it says that some ninja tried to help Sarada but got burned with fire element by Hidari. And the reason why this is weird is because I'm not sure if the guy who translated this meant to say Hidari shocked Sarada, because if he meant to say Jura, it means that he's actively participating in Sarada's battle through Hidari. And what I mean by this is that he's able to see through Hidari's eyes using the Rinnegan, which means they're visually linked. Now of course this links back to what Nagato did in the past using his Rinnegans with the outer path ability, right? This allowed him to link his eyes to the eyes of the other paths of pain, and they're all able to see through each other's eyes. And it seems that that's what is going on here. Now I did predict this last year where I made a video talking about the fake Rinnegans of the Shinjus, which means that there's only one real Rinnegan, and it's likely possessed by the body of the Tentacles or the body of the leader of the Shinju, which is likely Jura. So the rest of the Shinju entities referring to Hidari, Bug, and Matsuri, they don't possess actual real Renegans, it's just being reflected into their eyes. So we're not going to see them have different types of abilities like multiple Renegan abilities, just more so maybe one, which of course is being relayed into them by the main body, which is similar to what Nagato did with his paths. But of course I could be wrong, and I actually have a video coming up maybe 2 days from now after the chapter releases that goes in depth about this ability and also other possible abilities that these entities may possess, but of course we'll see when that comes out. Now it then says that Konohamaru attacked him with his Rasengan, but Hidari teleported behind him. It then says that Konohamaru used a new move to protect himself from Hidari's Chidori. The move is called Futan Rasen Shoiki or Shuiki, whatever. Okay, you guys can pronounce it whatever way you guys want to. But it's wind element spiraling barrier. So basically he's transforming the Rasengan into a barrier to protect himself using the wind element, which is pretty cool. And what's funny about this is that when everyone saw Rasengan Uzuhiko initially, that's what we thought it was doing because it was swirling around Boruto's body, but it seems like that's actually Konohamaru's ability, so that's quite funny. Now it then says that Hidari proceeded to attack Sumire with his lightning, which made her unconscious. Sarada is in a pinch, and the same happened to Himawari, which means they're in danger or in some type of trouble. She got hit by some type of attack by Jura. It seems like he stabbed her or something, but she was of course able to heal that wound using the power of the Nine Tails. Jura then proceeds to praise her regeneration powers, which he believes is beyond Jinchuriki and much more closer to that of the tailed beast. But even so, she became weakened because of it, because it needs tremendous chakra to heal such a wound. So it does seem like Himawari got badly damaged if it needed tremendous amount of chakra to heal the wound that she possessed or the wound that she had. But yeah, it also confirmed that she has a heightened healing ability due to this new power that she possessed. Of course, it's linked back to the entire thing about Kaguya's chakra in my opinion, but of course you guys could also say it's because she has a portion of the Nine Tails chakra from birth, right? That could also be the case, but I think it's because of the Kaguya thing, but we'll see. So it then says that the Chibi Nine Tails commented that even with such high potential that Himawari had, it still doesn't stand a chance against Jura's power. She really had a bad opponent. So as I pointed out in my video about why she can't win, okay, narratively it doesn't make sense that she would win this fight. And they're also going to use the fact that she doesn't have full control of the Nine Tails or this new power to really justify why that's the case, right? Because if you've read like a lot of shonen, you understand how these things work. I'm not saying that it's generic, but of course everything follows a similar formula, right? Himawari had like 0 chances of winning this battle because Jura isn't her opponent to defeat, even if they have this relation of being tail beasts, so she wasn't ever gonna win this fight. Now then switch back to Delta and Kawaki flying in the sky because they're heading over to Himawari's destination or location, right? And she's asking him what he's going to do about the people that defeated him, Jura and Hidari, which is a good question. Like, you got defeated by 2 hits by one of them so what are you gonna do now, right? Kawaki then replied saying that his only option is to go there because he needs to save Himawari, of course. So Kawaki knows that he probably isn't strong enough to defeat him, but he has to go there anyway, right? He needs to protect Himawari, which is of course the same argument I brought up about Naruto going to fight Ishiki, even though he knew that he wasn't strong enough, right? You are the Hokage, you have to go fight him regardless of whether you die or not. That is your job, okay? And Kawaki's job is protecting Naruto's daughter. That's what he sees his role as. But suddenly, we see that Boruto flew past them. He went to save Himawari. So this confirms that either Boruto is just way faster even while flying because these guys are also flying, or it could be that they weren't flying as fast, but that wouldn't make sense since he's trying to go save Himawari, so we'd assume that Kawaki is flying as fast as he possibly can. So with just like raw movement through the air, Kawaki is also inferior to Boruto in that aspect. It's just crazy what Kishimoto, this didn't need to happen, by the way. Boruto could have taken a different route. He didn't need to fly directly past them, but Kishimoto is trying to make the point clear here that Boruto is way above Kawaki at this point. Now we're then switching back to Hidari, and Hidari is just basically saying that he doesn't know about himself, but somehow the only thing he knew is Sarada from the first place. So he asks them who exactly is Sarada. He wonders what will happen if he gets to devour her. So he's like trying to understand himself, like trying to understand why he wants to do the thing that he wants to do. Because of course he's operating on instinct, the instinct to devour, Sarada specifically. It then says that Sarada noticed a frog holding some type of paper hiding behind a pole behind Hidari. It then says, and this is where it gets somewhat weird, it says that Boruto's frog confirmed that the frog has arrived at Sarada's place and said the symbol will be square, which is when Boruto proceeded to use Flying Thunder God. It then says that Boruto teleported just behind Hidari, then caught his hand that held Sarada. Jura commented, "What a tiresome trick," and Hidari commented, "Otsutsuki Boruto." And that's where the chapter ends. And the reason why this is somewhat weird is because it says that Boruto was flying to save Himawari, but then he just teleported to Sarada to save Sarada. But it also seems like Boruto arrived at the battlefield in front of Jura at the same time. So either Boruto is using the shadow clone technique where he actually flew to go save Himawari and arrived at the battlefield, and then he also used the technique with one of his clones to go save Sarada. But why this doesn't make sense is because Jura says, "What a tiresome trick," which is of course referring to Flying Thunder God, which means that Boruto must have teleported in front of Jura, but that's not what's being said in these leaks. So the most likely case here is that Boruto was indeed flying to go save Himawari, but then the toad chipped in saying that it arrived at Sarada's destination. So Boruto then used Flying Thunder God to teleport to go save Sarada. And the reason why Jura is also commenting on this is because, of course, it leads back to them being linked visually. So because they can sense Otsutsuki, Jura sensed that Boruto arrived near Hidari, and then he linked back to Hidari to see Boruto, which is why it then says, "What a tiresome trick." And earlier it also says that Jura used the claw marks to shock Sarada, and I'm not too sure on that one because I think that's a mistranslation. I think they actually meant to say Hidari, but this one specifically, it seems that Jura is indeed watching Boruto through Hidari's eyes. And of course we'll have to wait and see when the chapter comes out to get full confirmation, but this chapter seems a bit interesting here. Not a lot happened per se, and of course the leaks clearly didn't go in depth on every single thing because the chapter is over 40 pages. This isn't 40 pages of content, so there's a lot we didn't get, which is great, which means that we have a lot to look forward to in the chapter itself. So when the chapter comes out tomorrow or the day after, we'll of course have the chapter review up, and then we can like get a full representation of what is happening. But of course guys, let me know your thoughts on the spoilers down below, and if you guys want to join the Discord link will be linked in the comments as per usual. We'll have like discussions there about the chapter post this video, so join up guys. It's really awesome. But again guys, like the video if you liked it to get it into the algorithm, and also subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.